All right, can you state your name for us?
My name is Tracey Patricia Fluellen.
Okay, how do you spell the last name?
Fluellen.
Okay, and you're a spoken word artist, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from Camden, New Jersey.
Okay, and what is the basis of your spoken word poetry?
Healing through the arts. I'm an incest survivor. So, via testimony and the fusion of poetry, I'm hoping that one will be able to receive the understanding that they can be free and that they can see that someone else has their experience and they're not alone. So, the poetry is a reflection of my life story.
Mm. So you mentioned that you were an incest survivor.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I mean, I know it's a sensitive topic, but can you tell our audience a little bit about that, or what was that experience like?
Well, I was raped at the age of 3 in my grandparents' home in South Philadelphia. Only to discover that someone had violated me before the age of 3. I had numerous family members rape me. Two cousins raped me with their friends in my aunt's house in West Philadelphia. By the time I was 12 years old, I met my biological father, and I had a sexual relationship with him. And when I turned 16, that relationship developed into me having a baby by my biological father. And when that child was 4 months, he was raped and given a sexual transmitted disease. When that child turned 3 years old, he was electrocuted at 1535 Wildwood Avenue in Camden. 8 months after that, my mother was brutally murdered on the 2200 block of Fraser Street in Southwest Philadelphia. A week after I buried my mother, I turned 20, February the 27th, 1986. 45 this year. I turned 45 years old. Um, and it was very painful. I went through a lot of trying to discover myself, find out who I am, what I am, why I am, and not being crazy, not going crazy, maintaining me in the process of all of that. So I've been through addiction. I been through a lot of abusive relationships. I had to go through the healing and forgiving process with my family. But it's not easy being a incest survivor. People really mistreat you because of your truth.
Mm. Did you have to go to therapy for this?
I went to therapy. Actually, I started therapy in childhood. I was a inpatient at Child Guidance, which was a part of Children's Hospital. Came outpatient. Came up through Southern Homes. Um,
Mm.
I in 2005 I got a therapist here in New Jersey and who happened to be the lead therapist for Camden County's Women's Center on Domestic Violence. And I felt that was the best part of my therapy because I really got a chance to talk to someone who focuses nothing on adult rapes and children rapes. So I got the sense that I was really being understood.
So you found it helpful, the therapy?
Yeah, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
And would you recommend it for others that are suffering from incest at home to go to therapy, or who should they reach out to? Who would you recommend they reach out to if they're being abused in the home?
Well, I would suggest that they reach out to someone that they believe that they can trust, because people violate you in this process as well. So it would have to be someone, in my opinion, that you really believe that you can trust, that you can go to and tell the truth to, that will help you.
Mm. And in your case, who did you reach out to? I know you said you
I
have.
reached out to many people and they all violated me.
Mm.
So trust is the key. Um, it wasn't until, in fact, the more I reached out, the more people told me to shut up. Why I have to say something? Keep it to myself. Forget about it. Um,
Mm.
it's a difficult thing. I would say personally is when I took a stand and I decided that I have to say something. So I continue to say things, but it was more on the basis of saying what was being done to me or what has been done to me, because I kind of figured nobody would really help me. And I kind of figured like I'm not going to get the kind of help that I really need. But in 2001, I went to war, and war is war. I forget the title. War. Women Against Rape, I think it is.
What's an organization?
Yes, it's an organization in Philadelphia, and
Okay.
I went to their organization. I went to actually Women Against Abuse, and Women Against Abuse. When I mentioned that I was being raped, I was having this relationship with my father, they basically saw me as a sick individual. And so Women Organized Against Rape, which is WAR, was down the street, and I went to them and I had a conversation with them, and I asked them if they had an advocate who go into the police station with individuals, and they said no, they only go in the courtroom. But they said, well, we never thought to do that. And so the woman suggested, I believe her name was Marie or Marianne. It's been quite some time, many years now. But she went with me to the police department of 11th and Vine Street in Philadelphia. We then filed an initial complaint. We then went to the Special Victims Union, Northeast Philadelphia, and to have formal procedures, arrest warrant against my father. But what happened is that at the time it was Langham, I can't think of her name, the district attorney. She was female for the city of Philadelphia. She based a decision to not pursue my father because of the statute time, and my aunt, who had custody of my son, did not want to release my son for DNA testing. So it put me in between a rock and a hard place, and I never got justice for that. But what I realized that in that moment is that women or people who've been through incest aren't really given a chance, and people of color really aren't given a chance. So in 2005, I began my pursuit of going to the Camden County's Women's Center on Domestic Violence, asking if I can come and tell my story. And they agreed with me. And in telling my story, I wanted the women to make the connection of domestic violence and incest. In this packed little room at 4th and Cooper Street in Camden, I told my story and began there, where women began to openly and secretly, meaning when the meetings were over, would come and pull me to the side, began to talk about the experience of incest and the things that had happened in their homes. I continued a series of conversations with these women, which eventually led into a night of healing, a vision of Tracey Fluellen that was held at the Walt Whitman Center at 2nd and Cooper Street in Camden. And it was called a night of healing, celebrating a night of healing. And as a result of doing that, I began to put myself out there more and more, because I realized that I wasn't going to get the appropriate help that I needed. I just really wasn't going to get it. It just wasn't going to happen. So, in this discussion and in doing this poetry, going to different places, talking to different organizations and churches, I realized that it needs to be a format, it needs to be a place where people can come to, not secretly but publicly, people can come to and can get what they need, a mission of acknowledging that they have been sexually assaulted, whether it's male or female, children, that they can have freedom, knowing that when they walk in that door, it won't be held against them. They won't be looked at funny. You know, there's a whole lot of sexual activity among family members going on, just smoking crack. You know that?
No.
Well, it's real. If you do a survey and you go to Camden, there's a lot of family members getting high together. Not liquor, crack. Having relationships. And you know the funniest thing about that? Everybody knows it. And nobody cares. You know, the response is, it's too deep of an issue, but yet we say that God is real. Like, I fought to be here